All right, now it's time to talk about verbs. Verbs are mostly action words. We cannot form sentences without verbs. While they typically show action, some verbs do not. Let's talk more about them later. First, let's talk about action verbs. There are two kinds of action verbs, transitive and intransitive. Transitive verbs are verbs that pass their action to direct objects. We can add a noun or pronoun immediately after transitive verbs as the receiver of that action. Some examples. She washes the dishes. John bought the piano. The dog chased it. In the first example, she is the subject, washes is the transitive verb, and it passes action to the dishes. In the second example, John is the subject. The transitive verb is bought, which passes action to the piano. The third example, the dog is the subject, and the action is chased, which passes action to it. All right, did you notice how each verb was followed by a noun or a pronoun? Let's do our question test for each example. She washes the dishes. She washes what? The dishes. She is the subject, washes is the transitive verb, and the dishes is the direct object. John bought the piano. John bought what? The piano. John is the subject, bought is the transitive verb, and the piano is the direct object. The dog chased it. The dog chased what? It. The dog is the subject, chased is the transitive verb, and it is the direct object. Also notice how each sentence loses its complete thought without a direct object. If it was just she washes, or John bought, or the dog chased, it wouldn't be a complete sentence. Transitive verbs need a noun or pronoun to receive its action and make a sentence complete. Intransitive verbs, on the other hand, do not need a direct object. The sentence is complete even if it ends right after the intransitive verb. So they do not refer to an action that is done to something or someone. They do not need a receiver of the action and therefore should not be followed immediately by a noun or a pronoun. So some examples here. She laughed. There is no receiver of the laughter. Therefore, laughed is the intransitive verb. John sat. There is no receiver for sat. Sat is an intransitive verb. The dog slept. Slept is an intransitive verb because there is no receiver of the action slept. Only doers of these actions. To add a noun or a pronoun to a sentence with intransitive verbs, we must link them using prepositions. Do you remember prepositions and how they add details using prepositional phrases? Some examples. She laughs at the joke. John sat on the chair. The dog slept outside the house. So, she laughs is a complete sentence, but you can add a preposition at the end at the joke. John sat with a preposition on the end on the chair. And the dog slept with a preposition on the end outside the house. The prepositional phrases added more details to the sentences, but with or without them, the meaning of the sentences remains the same. Some examples here. She laughed and she laughed at the joke. They both refer to her laughing at the joke, just adds more detail. Same thing with John sat and John sat on the chair. They both mean that John sat on the chair, just adds more detail. The dog slept versus the dog slept outside the house. They mean the same thing. The second one just has more detail. Also remember to use prepositions to add details to a sentence with Always remember to use prepositions to add details to a sentence with intransitive verbs, or else the sentences will make no sense. Let's try adding the nouns directly to our sentences without prepositions. So if you remember from our discussion on the functions of nouns, we had the object of prepositions, but the preposition is always required for the prepositional phrase. Without the preposition, it's just she laughs, the joke. John sat, the chair. The dog slept, the house. Those are completely wrong because they're lacking the prepositions to complete the prepositional phrase. Is everything clear so far? Now that we know about transitive and intransitive verbs, take note that some verbs can be both transitive and intransitive. Don't worry too much about them though. The most important thing is that you are able to determine how they are used in a sentence. Let's look at more examples. She plays the piano and she plays in the lobby. In the first example, the word plays is a transitive verb because it's passing action to the piano. She plays what? The piano. In the second example, the plays does not pass action to the lobby because saying she plays and she plays in the lobby mean the same thing. The prepositional phrase in the lobby just adds detail to the play's action. Another example, John ate the pizza and John ate at home. In the first example, ate is a transitive verb because it passes action to the pizza. In the second example, ate is an intransitive verb because it does not pass action to the home. John did not eat the home, so it does not receive the action. Saying John ate and John ate at home mean the same thing, except the prepositional phrase at home just adds more detail. Another example, the girl will sing a song and the girl will sing. In the first sentence, the verb will sing is a transitive verb because it passes action to the direct object of a song. And in the second example, the girl will sing does not have a receiver of the action a song, so it's an intransitive verb. Earlier we talked about action verbs. Now let's talk about non-action verbs. Instead of showing action, these verbs give you more information about the subject or the verb tense. There are two types of non-action verbs, linking and helping verbs. Linking verbs, as the name suggests, link the subject to another noun or an adjective. Some examples of linking verbs are all forms of to be, which are am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been. Verbs that appeal to our senses, such as feel, look, appear, taste, smell, sound, grow, prove, remain, turn, become. These can also be used as action verbs, by the way. Some examples here. She is beautiful. The verb is links the subject to an adjective, the predicate adjective here, which is beautiful. They are athletes. The verb are links the subject to another noun, a predicate noun. The dog appears tired. The verb appears links the dog to the adjective tired. He became the principal. The verb became links the word he to the predicate noun, the principal. The nouns or adjectives here are called predicates because they describe the subject. Helping verbs, as their name suggests, help the main verbs. They bring the time aspect of a sentence by transforming the main verbs into different tenses. We will discuss them a lot later on when we discuss the different tenses of verbs. For now, let's just take a look at our helping verbs. All forms of to be, am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been. All forms of have, which is have, has, and had. All forms of do, which is do, does, did, and done. Conditionals, could, should, would, can, shall, will, may, might, and must. Some examples here. She is washing the dishes. Notice how our transitive verb has actually two parts. It has a helping verb, is, and a main verb, washing. Some more examples. He will become principal tomorrow. Will become is a linking verb. However, it contains two parts. Will is the helping verb and become is the main verb. I should finish my report tonight. Should finish is a transitive verb that passes action, but it has two parts. Should, the helping verb, and finish, the main verb. Knowing sentence patterns is very crucial to proper grammar. That's why I have been highlighting them throughout the lecture, which are these red letters underneath the underlines that we've been putting in all of our examples. Practice identifying the subjects, verbs, direct objects, indirect objects, predicate nouns, or predicate adjectives using the exercises that follow after this lesson. Once you become confident with them, proceed to the next module. If you aren't confident yet in identifying the subjects, verbs, direct objects, indirect objects, predicate nouns, or predicate adjectives, then I suggest you repeat the exercises until you become confident with them. Just a quick recap. There are two kinds of verbs, action verbs and non-action verbs. Action verbs can be transitive, which pass action, or intransitive, which do not pass action. Non-action verbs can be linking, which link a subject to a predicate noun or a predicate adjective, or helping, which help a main verb. While you're reviewing the different kinds of sentence patterns and identifying subjects, transitive verbs, intransitive verbs, direct objects, indirect objects, predicate nouns, and predicate adjectives, I want to remind you of the 5 sentence patterns we've used so far. So you can use these while you're looking at different sentences and trying to identify the patterns. The STVDO pattern, which is subject, transitive verb, direct object. The STVIODO pattern, which is subject, transitive verb, indirect object, indirect object. The SIV pattern, which is subject, intransitive verb. And take note that prepositional phrases aren't counted here. So if there's a prepositional phrase, it's still an SIV pattern. The SLVPA pattern, subject, linking verb, predicate adjective. And the SLVPN pattern, subject, linking verb, and predicate noun. All right, you can proceed to the exercises we have, and I'll see you in the next module.